Man, my kids are dance crazy. They're way into dance. They got into dance, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And I don't know if you experienced this, but it ends up being almost a full-time commitment. We're talking like 12 to 15 hours a week just at dance. And I got 4 daughters. They're all in dance. And guess what? They got a lot of trophies. All of them do. So I'm going to start by building them a little display case. And I got to pick out some steel. Yeah, I got to pick out some steel, and I'll show you what I'm going to build. It's going to look good. All right. My plan here with this trophy display is that I'm going to use this piece of leftover Meranti mahogany that I had when I did the deck a few years ago. And I'm going to cut it up. Half of it is going to be sort of like a floating shelf, okay? Then I'm going to rip probably 3/4 inch wide pieces. Those are going to stack below the floating shelf, if you will. And those will be sort of bars that we can put the metals, hang the metals on. To put the strips on there, I'm going to use this 3/4 inch tube stock that I have left over from something somewhere. I don't know where. You'll see here, instead of using safety glasses like I should, I've deployed what's known in construction as the safety squint. So I've been using this aluminum plate to do smaller welding projects on, and I'm really starting to like it. In fact, I might make a larger welding table, like a 2 foot by 2 foot welding table, out of a piece of aluminum I have. It absorbs excess heat really well, for one thing, and all of your slag does not stick to it. So it just seems to me that it's the next best thing to a regular welding table, which would be cast iron that has a milled perfect surface. That's the perfect welding table. What do you pros out there think? Should I make an aluminum welding table, or should I hold out for a cast iron? For most of the grinding on these 2 little brackets, I used the curved flap disc. That's specifically designed for fillet welds. The flaps curl around the back side of the flap disc. Kind of allows you to get in there on those inside fillet welds. If you don't know what a fillet weld is, that's the inside weld. And allows you to clean them up. Especially for me, I'm a really ugly gorilla welder. These little end pieces, these little caps, were really tricky to try to get in there and weld. So what I decided to do is I welded on a little piton onto the end of each cap so that I could grab it with my needle nose and then hold it inside the pipe. I'm curious what pros would do here. I don't know if there's a method that is better than this, because this method sucked, quite honestly. It was a pain in the butt to try to do. I wonder, there might be a technique to fold the end of the steel, but I'm not really sure, but whatever, we got it done. Okay, the metalworking portion is done. I wanted to do that first thing because that'll give myself some time before I need to touch those spray painted pieces of steel. So the longer I can let that spray paint dry, the better. I plan on installing this thing this afternoon, so hurry up, spray paint. Now, we're gonna take this big, beautiful piece of mahogany and we're gonna cut it up and start making the wood portion of the project. All right, so now I'm gonna make the metal hanging bars. I'm I'm gonna rip down the second piece of that mahogany to somewhere between 3/4 and an inch, somewhere around there. So it's still nice and thick, so I don't have to worry about it flexing. Even though this is pretty strong stuff, I don't know enough about it, so go big or go home, right? So somewhere between 3/4 to 1 inch to make sure it's nice and strong and it's gonna hold up all those metals, because she's got, like, you know, it's a lot of brass hanging, that's all. This is a test piece I'm cutting for a groove I'm going to put in that I'll explain in a little bit. Okay, I've got all the cuts done, I think. I put a little groove in this top piece. One thing I'm definitely going to do with all of these trophy metal displays that I make, I'm going to put a little groove in the top of the shelf, because they get a lot of plaques and things like that. So this way I can have something right here, like I'll show you. It'll catch in there and sit on the wall. I don't have to worry about it sliding off constantly. Once all the wood is done, of course, it's the crappy task of sanding. Sanding, sanding, sanding. If this was something other than a shelf, I might go up a little bit more in grit. But because it's just a shelf to hold some trophies, I went with 220 grit, and then I wet it down and went over it again just to get any raised fibers, and called it good. For the edges, you could router it, maybe with like a 1/4 inch router bit, but I just wanted to keep that block look, something that a carpenter showed me a while ago, and I've always liked it. So all I did was just knock down the edges a little bit with some sandpaper. These bolts, I'm giving a spritz with some spray paint here, are the only bolts that are really going to be seen on this shelf. Everything else that's securing the wood itself is going to be hidden. But I didn't have a great way to attach it to the wall, so it's just going to be some 1/4 inch toggle bolts, and I spray painted them the same color as the brackets, so you don't see them very much. I'll show you at the very end. My plan with securing the top shelf is I'm actually going to use a 1/4 20 I'm countersinking the head down inside the wood, but then I'm gonna drill and tap the bracket so there's no bolt through. This just gonna drill through one spot and then I'm gonna tap it. This is a 1/4-20 tap you're seeing here. You can get these at any hardware store if you've never used them. And that's just a regular T-handle. Make sure if you've never done that before, you're definitely gonna put some lubrication on that tap handle, because there's nothing worse than breaking a tap when you're in the middle of a project. Nothing worse. All right, time to give it a finish. I'm just gonna use a regular water-based poly from Minwax. Don't know if it's good or not, don't really care. I've used it on a few things, on some tongue and groove, and it turned out really good. It's gonna bring out some really nice red in this. You're gonna see this really start to pop. Right now it looks more brown than anything, but its true color is almost more of a red tone. It's gorgeous. So here we go. I'm not gonna take the slats off of the brackets because they're perfect. And I know if I take them off, I'm gonna fight to get them perfect again. So I'm just gonna leave them and deal with it. That's probably a mistake, but I'm going for it. I'm just using a paper towel here to apply this finish because I want it to dry quick. I want to be done with this. So this is a very, very light coat, and I'm almost wiping off any excess material. If I was going to be putting this outside, there's no way this would be good enough. But this is just going to sit on a kid's wall for the rest of its life. So it's more than good enough. I just wanted to bring out that gorgeous color. That's it. Hey. All right, so this one's done. I've got 3 more to do. I'm gonna end up doing those a little bit different. Each one I'll do a little bit different, and I'll be doing them sporadically through next year. So look forward to those if you like this style. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. What the heck, why not? And I'll see you in the next one.